What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zamboni. I am an herbalist and astrologer, and it is time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. I am coming to you this week from my very favorite place in the whole world, underneath the juniper tree. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for pressing that save button on the right side. Thank you for sending it to your friend. Thank you for sending me a tip via Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. Thank you so much for being here. Let's talk about the astrology of the week ahead. So, this week, I feel like this week is a little bit of a transition week. It's not a super busy week in the sense of like there's a lot of transits, there's a lot of major transits going on. It's more about sort of setting up where we're going from here. So some of the major themes of 2021 have been around like the fixed signs. There's Saturn in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus. I've been talking about this all year. And so then we had all the stuff in Leo, and that was opposing Saturn in Aquarius and squaring Uranus in Taurus. So now we're kind of out of that. And so we've got the sun in Virgo, and Virgo doesn't make an aspect to Aquarius at all, and it makes a nice trine aspect to Taurus, and it's a different vibe. And then we've got stuff in Libra also. We've got Venus in Libra, and this week, early in the week, tomorrow actually, Mercury is going to move into Libra. And so Libra makes a nice trine to Aquarius, doesn't make an aspect at all to Taurus, and so is not going to be in the fray, in the crossfire of that whole Saturn Uranus situation. That's one of the sort of saving graces that we have in the moment. And if you want to check out my September report, which I think is going to come out like today, tomorrow, something like this, then it's I'm writing monthlies now, and so if you check that out, then I recommend early in the week or early in the month going hard and trying to do stuff, get your stuff done. And it's because we've got this great Venus in Libra, and we've got Mercury in Libra as well. So Mercury is going to move out of Virgo and into Libra. So this is going to be a little bit of a dignity change for Mercury. Mercury prefers to be in Virgo, but at least to my mind, Neptune has been so confusing to the Mercury and to the Virgo stuff that I think that Mercury moving into Libra, especially while Venus is there in Libra, this looks like a good look for Mercury. Now, Mercury is beginning to slow down here, and that's part of one of the things that is a little bit, setting us up for the future. By the end of September, then we're going to be looking at a Mercury retrograde at the end of Libra. And actually that Mercury retrograde is going to station exactly square to Pluto, which is another one of the things that we're going to see later in the week. Is Venus is going to make it to that 25 degrees of Libra and square Pluto. Now that is particularly important because later, at the very end of the year, then Venus is going to station retrograde on Pluto at 25 degrees of Capricorn. And so what we see this week is sort of a preview of that, right? We've got Venus is going to make it up to that point. Mercury is getting into Libra and is going to sort of start to think about the things that we're not quite into the retrograde shadow this week yet, but we're getting close. We're getting close for sure. And it's going to, we're going to be seeing some of these themes, some of the stuff that needs to be revisited, some of the, ways of relating, ways of communicating, ways of emotionally and physically connecting with the other. We're going to be looking at these kinds of dynamics and ways that these need to be reevaluated. And this is much further reaching than just the 1 week, right? This is we're going to be looking at this on and off for kind of the rest of the year. So when we get all the stuff in Libra, which is gonna, we've got the sun in Virgo right now, and we've still got Mars in Virgo, but both of those are gonna move into Libra soon enough in a couple of weeks. We've got Mercury there, we've got Venus there right now. And so as the stuff moves into Libra, then the square to Pluto is gonna become more of a thing. Now, Pluto, what happens in a square to Pluto? Well, Pluto is the planet of the underworld. A lot of times I like to talk about obsessive attachment with Pluto. Things like addiction show up. Whenever I am sort of like, if I ever delineate somebody's chart and they like a natal chart and they've got a bunch of Pluto up in their grill, then a lot of times this is pretty uncomfortable for that person. However, there's my favorite sort of like useful quality of Pluto is the research project, right? It's like going super deep into the hole and like I can't get out because there's so much interesting information and I just gotta get to the very bottom of it, right? This is kind of how Pluto likes to operate. And so since we're gonna be seeing Pluto interacting with Venus so strongly and with Mercury so strongly, then we're gonna really be looking at the ways that we communicate and the ways that we touch one another emotionally, physically, you know, in the ways that we sort of like come to be together, right? Or come to be in harmony or not. What does this mean? What does it mean to be in harmony? And how do our heterogeneous or diverse perspectives, how can we sort of bring them together in some kind of important or deeply felt way? And so we're going to start to see this sort of stuff getting queued up here. This is going to be going on for a long while. We're going to be seeing the Venus retrograde that goes deep into January of next year. And so we're going to see this sort of stuff sort of moving into place right now. And so whatever has been going on with Venus and Libra for you, it's good to sort of like feel into that and, you know, just see how you feel. Now's not the time to like try to make a bunch of moves. One of the reasons that I don't really feel like this is a good week to like do all the stuff necessarily, but rather a good week to sort of feel into it and sort of get an idea of what is real and what I want to, how I want to move, is because Mars is in Virgo this week and is going to oppose Neptune. So whenever we see Neptune and Mars is the planet that wants to do stuff. It's action oriented, wants to push, wants to jump, wants to run, wants to, you know, blood pumping and get the stuff moving. Also anger, rage, all that sort of stuff. And then Neptune is like so confused or lazy, or, you know, Neptune is all of the like expansive everything. It's so dreamy. Like, what, can't we just go to sleep? You know, Neptune is really strong in Pisces, and so the opposition to Virgo, which is like, let's put the stuff into the boxes. Let's file everything away. Let's make sure that everything is organized. You know, that sort of principle is really just like having a rough time with Mars opposite to Neptune. And so this is a really good time to sort of get into the feeling of it, right? Because that Mars is still, this is our nighttime planet, right? This is our nighttime malefic, and this is one of the personal planets. I think about Mars and Venus as being very passionate, being very close to the heart or very close to the emotional center in some kind of way. You know, Mars is associated with masculinity and all this sort of stuff, the yang principle. But I feel like we can all agree that masculinity is extremely sensitive, right? And so we're sort of in this place where the sensation is likely to generate some emotions. And now is a really good time to sort of just take some stock of that. What is going on here? How is this even working? The other thing that's happening this week is the moon is waning. So we're in the last quarter moon here. So again, this is not super like, let's get everything started time, right? The waning moon is a good time to wrap things up, to close things up, and to, you know, as things get darker and darker, especially in the nighttime, then that's a really good time to sit and to think, to be contemplative. Now's an excellent time to break that journal out again. You know, to see what's really real here, and to, you know, especially late in the week as Venus makes that square to Pluto, then, you know, I would guess that there are likely to be some strong themes which are likely to be repeated as we move into the later part of the year. And so, so this is there's not, and that's like all that's going on this week. Mercury's going to move into Libra, Mars is opposite to Neptune, and Venus is going to square that Pluto, and kind of more or less everything else is just kind of hanging out. There's not a lot of big aspects going on this week. We're getting queued up, we're checking some new stuff out, and so this is a really good time to do the journaling or whatever kind of reflexive praxis you might have, so that you can have a little bit better idea about how to do your moves and what kind of communication. The communicative piece is going to be really big here, because once this Mercury retrograde starts, then we're going to have to redo some of the communication, or look into better ways of doing it, see how messages that we've been trying to communicate have been miscommunicated or misunderstood. What kinds of things have we misunderstood, and why do we misunderstand these things? The question why is a really good one whenever we're dealing with Pluto. Pluto really likes to get down to the core of the thing. And so this question why is likely to show up a lot here. And so this is a really good reflexive week. As the moon sort of wanes down, this is a good time to sort of do less. And then as we move into the new moon next week, then there's some like really good push it, let's go kind of vibes in the week to come. So now's a good time to plan. Virgo loves a good plan, right? Do some planning, do some scheduling, do some journaling, think it through, and then we get to move again after the new moon. So and this is one of the things that I talk about all the time with like the electional report that I do. You can find that on my Patreon or on my website. You can, I elect or select or choose times that are really good to start stuff, but then I also give times when it's time to rest or when it's time to do less. And this is one of those weeks when less is more. So as I always say to the music students that I used to have as well, the rests are as important as the notes. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me every week. I really appreciate you. And thank you for sending me a tip via Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. Thank you for getting a reading. Thank you for buying the electional report. Thank you for supporting me on Patreon. Thank you for just being here. I super appreciate you. What a beautiful community you all are. Thank you so much for supporting me as I go through my identity crisis or whatever it is. Y'all are the best. And I look forward to seeing y'all next week. Bye.